Estranged. Cheating dad demands I give my inheritance from late mom to pay for his mistress's debt from gambling. Says mom would want me to help family. So I, 28 female, need to know if I'm out flying here because my family is making me feel like the worst person alive right now. Sorry if this is a mess, but I'm just so mad while writing this. For context, my mom passed away when I was 18. She was the best, the only person in my life who ever really cared about me. My dad, 55 male, was around, but honestly, he wasn't great. He cheated on my mom when I was 13, and while she stayed for my sake, I never forgave him. He moved in with his affair partner about a month after the divorce, and she's been his main focus ever since. Anyway, my mom didn't have much, but she left me a small inheritance. Not huge, around $50,000, but it was everything she had. Her will was super clear that it was for me to build my future. She knew how much I wanted to go to art school but couldn't afford it back then. I ended up working my way through school. So I kept the money in savings, planning to use it for a house or a small business someday. Fast forward to now, I'm finally in a stable place. About to start looking at houses with my partner at 29 male, and suddenly my dad pops out of nowhere. He's never really asked me for anything before or, been around, but now he's saying he needs help. Apparently, his wife got into a debt from gambling, and now they're at risk of losing their house. His asset's temporary, and he'll pay me back, but I know that BS. He's never been good with money. And his wife? Let's just say she doesn't exactly scream responsible. I told him no, that this money was for mom, and she wanted it for me. It got all defensive saying she'd want me to help family and that I'm being selfish for hoarding money I don't even need right now. Like, are you kidding me? Now my dad's side of the family is all up in my business saying I should be the bigger person and help him out in his time of need. My aunt even called me to say that I'm disrespecting his role as my father. What role? The man barely raised me. I feel bad because, yeah, it's a lot of money, and I guess they could lose their house. But at the same time, why is it my responsibility to bail them out when they've done nothing for me? My mom trusted me with this money, and I feel like giving it to him would just be spitting on her memory. Am I the a-hole for saying no? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your mom died and left everything she had to the daughter she loved, not the ex who cheated on her. Forget everything else. Would your mother want you to give everything she ever saved to her ex and the woman she cheated on her with? Ignore them both. Use the money however you choose and rest easy knowing it's what your beloved mother would have wanted. Yeah, mother would roll over in her grave if Opie gave any money to her father. Not the a-hole. That's your money and no one else's. All of these posts about family and money on this sub are crazy. Does this thing actually happen? Sadly, yes. Family is divorced because they feel entitled. One of the many reasons I'm no contact with my younger sister. Next story. Am I the a-hole for tearing down my half-sister when she asked me why I couldn't have saved my mom's name for her to use for a future daughter? I, 27 female, gave birth to my first child a month ago. My husband and I named her after my late mom with a favorite name of ours as her middle name. My mom died 10 years ago, and using her name was always something I wanted to do. When my half-sister, 24 female, first heard the name, she got a little pouty and asked why I didn't see if she wanted to use the name instead. She said she had always imagined giving her first daughter my mom's, not her mom's, name. I told her I'd always intended to use my mom's name. My half-sister said my mom was basically the closest person she ever had to a mom and that she was always so sweet and accepting of her, and that using her name would have been a nice way to show respect and appreciation. She said I didn't need to use it. I said, I'm my mom's daughter, so of course I get to use it. My half-sister replied that we were all family. I emphasized in response that I was my mom's only child. My half-sister said that might be true, but my mom had accepted her into the family as well. This is where I might be the a-hole because I told her that wasn't true. I said my mom hardly had anything to do with her. I explained that my mom didn't want to take her frustrations out on kids, so she tried to be kind when she couldn't avoid her, but she absolutely did love or accept her. I told her to get real if she thought the woman who was cheated on would love and accept the child that came from the affair. I told her she shouldn't be trying to imply she had more of a right to my mom's name than I do when she was nothing to my mom, and her child wouldn't be either. She left in tears. Background: my parents were married and had me. Mom found out dad cheated on her and got his other woman pregnant, so she divorced him. She had primary custody of me. My dad ended up with sole custody of my half-sister. My dad made every effort to stay in my life, but he always brought my half-sister when he came to support me. My mom hated it. She never said that directly to me, but I overheard her talking to my aunts or grandma about how much she despised seeing my half-sister there. She said it was tough when my half-sister would reach out to her, but she didn't want to be mean to her face. My mom also told my dad she didn't want to be active in my half-sister's life. Over the years, my half-sister tried to spend more time with my mom. She would pack to come with me when I was going home to mom, or she'd rush out the door when mom picked me up, trying to hug and talk to her. My mom wasn't warm to her, but my half-sister ignored it. When my mom died, my family and I had a private cremation, and my half-sister was upset she couldn't attend. My dad and I stopped speaking after that because he said I should have ensured my half-sister could be there. He never discouraged her from pining for my mom even though my mom had told him she didn't want a relationship with her. Since my half-sister ran out crying, she's texted me saying I was cruel and didn't need to crush her hope that my mom loved her. She said she'd hoped to be wanted by at least one female figure in her life. She also said, I never wanted to be with her and dad, and then I didn't want her with me and mom either. Am I the asshole? Honestly, I blame your father for all of this. Your sister clearly spent her childhood wishing for a mother in her life. And instead of taking responsibility for his failures, your father tried to push the woman he cheated on into being a surrogate mother to his affair baby. I hope when things are calmer, you can encourage your sister to seek therapy to address how much your father's pour messed her up. True, the father's actions and lack of responsibility are at the root of this whole issue. He created a deeply unfair situation for everyone involved, especially his daughters. It's clear why your half-sister might struggle with feelings of rejection and a longing for a maternal figure, especially if her father failed to provide adequate emotional support and guidance. Not the a-hole. Wow. Your half-sister is projecting hard. She may have idolized your mom in her head, but that doesn't change the reality of the situation. Your mom didn't want a relationship with her because of the circumstances, and that's not your fault to sugarcoat or fix. Honestly, she put you in an awkward position by even asking to use your mom's name for her hypothetical kid. You have every right to honor your mom however you see fit. She was your mom, period. I bet the dad planted his seed in the half-sister's head that his ex loved her, and it grew into a delusional tree. They both need a major reality check. Exactly. Dad should have found another woman to be a female role model instead of his cheating victim. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to share my college savings with my step-siblings because my mom saved it for me? Hi, everyone. I'm Sienna 19 female, and I'm currently a student. Growing up, I lived mostly with my mom after my parents divorced, but I spend weekends and holidays with my dad, his wife, my stepmom, and their 2 kids, 8 female and 6 male. While I love my dad, I've always felt like an outsider in his new family. When I was younger, my mom started a college savings fund for me. She worked so hard to build it up over the years, and it's the reason I've been able to go to college without drowning in debt. My dad didn't contribute much to it. He said he had other expenses, especially with my younger siblings, but I've always been grateful for what my mom did. Last weekend, during a family dinner, my stepmom casually mentioned that my younger siblings are going to need help paying for college someday. Then she turned to me and asked if I'd be willing to share some of my college fund with them since we're all family. I was completely caught off guard. I told her I couldn't because that money is specifically for my education, and my mom worked really hard to save it for me. She got upset and said I was being selfish, arguing that my siblings are young and will need support when they are older. My dad chimed in saying it would mean a lot to the family if I contributed even just a small portion. I told them I understood their concern, but that this wasn't something I could do. My stepmom ended the conversation by calling me ungrateful and storming out of the room. Since then, my dad has been distant, and my stepmom barely speaks to me unless it's to throw a passive-aggressive comment my way. Even my mom thinks I should have entertained the conversation at all, but I didn't want to cause a bigger fight. Now I'm wondering if I handled this the wrong way. Am I the a-hole for refusing to share my college fund with my step-siblings? Not the a-hole. That's your college money. You need to use that for your education. At the next conversation, OP should remind both stepmom and dad, yes, they will need help paying for their college like I do. My mom saved up tooth and nail for me. Neither of you contributed to it. I suggest you start as a matter of conscientiousness, making contributions to their college fund so they get the help they need. It's not my responsibility to sponsor my siblings. It's your responsibility to sponsor your children. EP, focus on your mom. If your dad and his wife want to be passive-aggressive, spend time at your mom's and avoid them for your peace of mind. You should absolutely not share because by the looks of it, those two think what belongs to your step-siblings is theirs and what is yours also belongs to your step-siblings. Remove yourself from that complication and cherish your mother. She sounds phenomenal. My mother cared enough to save for her offspring. Dad, I'm sorry that your new wife doesn't care enough about her offspring to save for them, but it was your choice to marry her after you left my mother, not the a-hole. Is your stepmom smoking crack? Good for you for standing your ground. Your stepmom wants your mom's money? Crazy. Ops mom needs to speak to the stepmom and say, save for your own kids' college funds instead of coming after money I saved for my own child. Stop embarrassing yourself and being entitled. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to name my baby after my partner's family tradition? Female 27, male 30. I, 27 female, am currently 8 months pregnant with my first child, a baby girl, with my partner Luke, 30 male. We're beyond excited to meet her and have been working in all the preparations, nursery, baby gear, parenting books, you name it. But we've hit a massive wall over one thing: her name. Luke's family has a tradition where every firstborn girl is named Agatha. His great-grandmother, grandmother, and mother all have this name. And apparently, it's non-negotiable for his family that we carry it on. To be clear, Agatha is a fine name, but it's just not the vibe I want for our daughter. I've always loved unique, modern names, and I feel like our daughter should have her own identity, not a hand-me-down name that she didn't choose. I've tried compromising. I suggested using Agatha as her middle name or even giving her a modern name with a similar vibe like Ayla or Athena, but Luke and his family are adamant. They've called me selfish, disrespectful, and even said I'm trying to erase their legacy. His mom keeps sending me baby blankets embroidered with baby Agatha like it's already decided. And his grandmother made a big speech at Thanksgiving about how she's so proud to welcome another Agatha to the family. I've told Luke that while I respect his family's tradition, this is our daughter, and I want us to agree on a name that feels right to both of us. He says I'm overcomplicating this and should just honor the tradition since it's clearly important to them. Here's the kicker. I found out that Luke himself hates his own family name, which was passed down to him through their boy tradition. He goes by his middle name because he thinks Horace, his real first name, is embarrassing. When I brought this up, he said, "Yeah, but that's different." Now I'm getting the silent treatment from his mom, guilt trips from his grandma, and Lucas acting like I'm being unreasonable for standing my ground. My friends are split. Some say I should just give in to avoid family drama, while others agree this is a hill worth dying on. So read it. Am I the a-hole for refusing to name my baby after my partner's sacred family tradition? Now for the top comments. Definitely not the a-hole. It's your child, not a family heirloom. Traditions are nice, but they shouldn't override what feels right for you as parents. Stick to your guns and choose a name you both love. Thank you. That's exactly how I feel. Traditions are great, but they shouldn't feel like chains. I just want my daughter to have a name that feels special to her, not one chosen out of pressure. Do you now call him Horace? I fully would only use that from now until he drops the name for your child. Not the a-hole. It's reasonable to want a name you both love for your daughter. You've already compromised by offering Agatha as a middle name, but Luke and his family's insistence is unfair. His own discomfort with his name adds inconsistency. It's your child, and both parents should have equal input. Thank you for understanding. Offering it as a middle name felt like a fair compromise to honor their tradition without it defining her identity. It's frustrating that Luke doesn't see the double standard. Refuse to call him anything but Horace until he starts supporting you. The person growing the daughter currently camped out on your bladder, not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my boyfriend's sister live with us after she was kicked out by her own parents? My boyfriend, 28 male, and I, 27 female, have been together for 5 years, and we've been living together for the past 2. We're happy and generally get along well. But recently, his younger sister, 21 female, was kicked out of their parents' house after an argument. She didn't have anywhere to go and asked if she could move in with us. I immediately said no. I said no because she's messy, loud, and incredibly entitled. I've had issues with her in the past because she used to come over unannounced, eat our food and leave a mess in our apartment. On top of that, she's been known to borrow money from family and conveniently forget to pay it back. I tried to explain to my boyfriend that I wasn't comfortable with her living with us, especially since we only have a 1-bedroom apartment. I also work from home, so having her around all the time would disrupt my routine. He argued that it's temporary and that families should help each other out. When I stood my ground, he called me selfish and accused me of not supporting him when his family needed help. His sister also heard about my refusal and started bad-mouthing me to other family members, saying I'm heartless and trying to ruin their bond. Now my boyfriend is upset, and his sister is furious. Should I have accepted for the sake of peace? I feel bad, but I also believe we're entitled to our own space and boundaries. So am I the a-hole for refusing to let her move in? Not the a-hole. Your space and boundaries matter. It's not your job to fix their family drama, especially when it's clear it should disrupt your life. Your boyfriend needs to respect that. Your boyfriend's sister has a pattern of bad behavior, and that alone is a valid reason to not want her living with you. It's important to stand firm on boundaries even if it causes some tension in the family. Your comfort is important too. The boyfriend is also showing a pattern of bad behavior towards his girlfriend, not the a-hole. There are a number of reasons why staying together won't work. If she can fight with her parents, I'm sure you'll keep having issues every day. She should go and patch things up with her parents.